Hey, what's up, guys? Kevin here from Canadian Card Pickers, and today I wanted to talk about something um, big happening in not just the baseball card part of the card collecting space, but NBA and NFL as well. That could have really big implications onto, well, what we do, collecting cards. And some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not. You know, you can see videos starting to circulate on YouTube and articles and everything. But the MLB announced that in a couple years, I'm not sure exactly on the number, they will be transferring and giving the license for trading cards from Topps, who has been doing this for since 1951 for 70 plus years, and they'll be giving it to Fanatics. Some of you might be going, who's that? For some of you older folks, you might be like, the esports guy, like the like CS:GO player or whatever it was. And some of you might think that it's, the Phillies fanatic. That's not the case either. They are giving it to Fanatics, who is a leader in sports memorabilia and apparel. So you might be like, oh, that's great. Like, it's going to a company that's well known and stuff like that. And for me, I don't think it's great. The reason being is the reason that they're so well known is mainly because of the fact that a lot of people's experience with Fanatics and quality has been subpar at best. My first experience with Fanatics was when I was a fan of Overwatch League. For those that don't know, Overwatch is a first-person shooter game, team-based game, released by Activision Blizzard, and it's been around since 2016, 2015, something like that. And in 2019, they created their own professional esports league for Overwatch called the Overwatch League. Part of that was a 2-year deal at the start with Fanatics to create their official merchandise. That included t-shirts, various other accessories, and jerseys. Now, the problem is, it was like an exclusive deal. It was a 2-year contract, no way out of it. And the first year wasn't too bad, but something changed, and Fanatics decided, I'm not sure what or why, whether or not it was to cut costs or, maximize profit, especially with a short-term deal like this, with something that they weren't sure on. And the first year was all right. But in the second year, right out the gate, as soon as they changed, I believe they went to a different manufacturer or something like that. As soon as they changed, the quality went completely downhill. It was almost like quality control was non-existent. And because of that, a lot of people just decided not to get any merchandise from them because there was too big of a risk. You were spending over $100 maybe for a jersey, taking however long to get shipped to you. Especially for me, I'm in Canada. That takes a long time, and you're paying duties as well to come over the border. An $89 jersey ends up being almost $150 after taxes and fees and stuff. You had some of the firsthand examples that I saw posted on Reddit were things like peeling letters, for the the back for like the player name or the custom order or what have you. T-shirts that like the printing, it was barely on there. It was really poor quality. Like half of the image was printed. In one case, I saw someone where instead of the logo being right on the middle, it was like rotated and up. So to me, that just showed there was no quality control. If that were to go through any type of quality control, you'd immediately see that didn't fit the standards that you would expect. Like, being off by like a degree or just slightly off center, like those are things that happen, small margin of error. It sucks, but it's livable. These mistakes that were coming out were completely unacceptable. And if you look up Fanatics quality, right? No biased look, right? You could search that for any other product and to be like, hey, what's the quality like for this product? If you search Fanatics quality, it might differ for you compared to me, but the entire first page, outside of their own marketing things based on SEO, for their own websites and that, every single non owned page that comes up has something to do with poor quality, bad quality control, issues with their products. And if you look at some reviews of the brand as well, you'll see that it's maybe 2 stars out of 5 on a couple different websites, which I think one is, it's like a trust advisor or something like that, specifically for like brand trust, to determine like, how well do people trust this brand. And I was looking at a video on YouTube and I saw some comments from people that were saying, oh man, like this is great, Topps quality control, or like, quality is so bad. But the thing is, like, yes, Topps can have mistakes, but most of the time, you're getting like the packaging is pretty solid. Obviously, a lot can happen between when it comes off the line and gets to you, but in a lot of cases, their quality control is pretty good. And they're really good about saying, like, if you contact them within that 1 year, you'll get a replacement. And I haven't seen a lot of posts, because people are very vocal on places like Reddit, like the baseball card subreddit. And I haven't seen a lot of bad cases from people frequently. You might see one here or there, but my concern is those issues that have occurred, when NHL went from Reebok to Fanatics, the price dropped, but the quality went down. They weren't as good of jerseys. And I'm concerned that what might happen is we'll see the same thing happen with cards. And the problem with that for me is this is a hobby. This is an industry. This is a community where quality is everything. If you have issues with quality control off the line, whether it's printing problems, issues with, putting the foil on, packaging issues, any number of, print errors that can occur. If you are known for bad quality control, then that's not good going into trading cards. And Fanatics doesn't really have a history, as far as I know, when it comes to trading cards. So this is very out of the blue. People are speculating and saying like MLB and these other, for instance, NFL and NBA are also going to be in talks to potentially switch from Panini, who is like, the top tier people for them and the only ones, and then shifting that to Fanatics as well. And I think, people are speculating, from what I've heard, that it's because these sports leagues want to get a little bit more of their hand into that, whether or not it's financially or the creative direction of it. And that's problematic because in those scenarios, you have a company that has no significant experience with trading cards, compared to Panini and Topps, who both have, probably, I believe Panini, maybe it was the 70s. I remember looking this up recently. But, they have almost 100 years of card printing experience, and the lessons from there and stuff like that, and it's going to shift to Fanatics. And my concern is we're going to see what's happening. We're going to see a junk era again. Maybe for the first little bit, they won't sit on their laurels and they'll go, oh, you know what, let's really wow them out the gate. And then as the money comes in, they'll be like, all right, now we're just printing money. We're good. And you look at companies like Upper Deck, who they have their collection, but you guys have watched my videos. You've seen just how unexciting the base set has been for me. The extended series with 2020 to 21 wasn't too bad, but, it's still not great compared to Topps, right? And shifting over from Topps to Fanatics is... we don't know what to expect. It's like, in any industry, it's when there's a transference of that kind of power, literally going from one monopoly to another. It's hard to expect what Fanatics is going to do. Is it going to be good? Are the people in charge going to look at the other branches of Fanatics and say, we can't afford to make the mistakes they're making? Or are they going to crumble under stakeholder pressure? Because that's the thing, is it doesn't matter who you put in charge of running that division. They report to stakeholders. They report to the executives and the board of directors of the Fanatics parent, corporation. And so even if you have, I believe it's been confirmed that the person in charge of StockX, inventory company for things like cards and things like that, will be running this, which is great. It's someone who's kind of in the scene, but at the same time, you look at any product in video game development or anything like that, and you can have the best development team, the greatest people, the best producer, the greatest directors, or product directors and things like that, and the product gets ruined. Now, why? Why does that happen? Why do these things that on paper should be good get ruined? And that's because higher executives, higher management, higher leadership, stakeholders, investors and things like that, they have say on the direction the product takes. So you could have a great idea for a feature or what have you, and go, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. The players are going to love it." And if you apply that to cards, they might be like, "Ooh, let's do this idea and this set, and let's do this whole thing, and it's going to look amazing. We can get this going on." And like on paper, it sounds amazing. If they were to pitch it to collectors, they'd go, "Oh yes, that's perfect. That's great." But then the stakeholders, because you don't just do a thing, you have to pitch this to the higher ups, and then unless they give them full 100% autonomy and they say, look, you do you, we're going to focus on the merch and the clothing and stuff on that side, you just see what you can do over the next 5 years, which is doubtful. But when they do that review, they're going to go, that's cool, but one of the things I was thinking was maybe we could do this. And when these people are the ones cutting your paychecks, these are the people paying for you to have a job, paying, whether or not they're an investor or what have you, you're beholden to their opinion. You can't just say, oh, no, that's a dumb idea. We're going to do this thing as planned. We already have done some, user research. We know this is going to succeed. We've compared markets and all that, and it's going to go well. Because that's unfortunately a problem in so many industries and professions, is people hire professionals who are some of the best at what they do, and they tell them what to do rather than defer to their extreme experience. And so what happens is the priorities of those stakeholders take effect. They think, ooh, I'd really love, one person would really love to see you do this, like a throwback to this card. That was one of the first cards I collected, right? But meanwhile, market research shows most collectors absolutely abhor and hate that particular like card style or that kind of whatever, or that team or what have you. But now they're in a place where it's like, okay, I can't just say no to this. But they can't just say, okay, we'll do both. Most of the time they go, okay, what do we do? The thing that is a sure shot to really make people happy, or the stakeholder thing. Well, if we don't do the stakeholder thing, like, we're screwed, or we'll have to do it eventually. And so eventually they have to crumple into that because they get a backlog of these stakeholder requests. So getting to it though, we have a quality control problem. We have people new to the industry when it comes to cards, and, the whole process, the logistics of it, the, printing, all that. So we don't know, like Topps has had, 70 plus years to create an entire logistics system when it comes to the development, design, printing, distribution, and marketing of their product. Whereas this, they're probably going to want to maximize their initial profit to ensure that stakeholders go, okay, good, I'm glad you made that choice, right? They also have to get that money back from their initial licensing offer, because monopolies and exclusivity is not cheap. Tops has had years and years to have a a a backlog of money, to cover their costs of their licensing fees. Um, but yeah, it's very concerning for me. I'm new to the space, and I know there's a lot of investors out there. You might see people that are super in favor of it, people that are super against it. I'm not necessarily super against it because I don't, we have to wait and see. Things can be totally different. Stakeholders might be very hands off on this and give autonomy to the people they've hired because, you know, maybe they'll step away and go, hey, I'm putting your experience over my ego and letting you drive the direction of this new product. And I'm just excited to see what you do and how you can make this company better with this new division. But at the same time, when you look at all of Fanatics' other products and the issues they've had, especially at the beginning, when it comes to quality control, and that makes me very worried about, us entering another junk era, because none of these, it's going to be so hard to, like what, for instance, imagine like you guys watched my 2018 Gypsy Queen video, and when I pulled that Shohei, it was great. But of course there was a little ding in it, right? And of course, I'm pretty sure that just had to do with being moved around, 3 years old, things like that. I doubt it came off the line that way. It probably just was shuffled around and moved around so many times that, one of the packs happened to get pushed in a little bit. But imagine if that happened way more frequently than it does now, which is what I'm expecting. The first 2 years, sure, maybe. Like, you can kind of give a gimme, but at the same time, they should be planning now and setting up the logistics and trying to have the best, because you can't launch with issues with something like this. You've got to earn everyone's trust, because when we're used to seeing, especially in baseball, Topps being the producer and manufacturer that we've, loved and collected from for 70 years, when we see them getting tossed to the wayside and, all those great products that we love they're now gonna lose the team logos. You expect that if they're getting tossed with their years of experience with this specific product, that either MLB recognized shortcomings from them, and that's why they're shifting to Fanatics, because they can guarantee those shortcomings are filled, or the more likely thing is they want to maximize profits, get their hands into it. They're all businesses. They're not charities. This is what you have to remember. They care about you as a consumer to the point where it makes them money, right? So whether it's video games, movies, music, physical products, there's a certain threshold where your opinion eventually doesn't matter, right? For the money that they're making. So, this is something that we as collectors have to be cognizant of and aware of, and we have to be very clear with Fanatics and the MLB, and potentially in the future NFL and NBA over the next few years, that we won't stand for little bumps, right? Because over the next 2 years, or however many years it is until the license expires, for Topps, we're going to get the products that we know and love, and, with the quality that we expect. Of course, we're going to expect immaculate, but let's be realistic, right? When you're mass producing products, it's very, there are multiple points of failure where something can happen to the product, right? But when that's transferring over and all those years of experience are just being thrown away, you expect a lot at the beginning from that company it's going to. And I don't think we should give them, they're new to it and that. No. They are getting exclusive rights. They should be prepared for what they're doing, right? They've produced other products. They have seen their shortcomings in those products. In some cases, they've lost the rights to those products because of how bad the fan base or the community reacted to their shortcomings. And I just think we need to ensure that our expectations are high. And I'm not encouraging everyone to pitchfork and everything like that. I'm just saying that if you want to ensure our hobby remains something enjoyable, something where every pack is a delight, we need to make sure that they know that. Whether or not it's quality control, the quality of the products. You know, you guys have heard me. I'm not just about Topps. I would love to see Panini get the license to MLB again because I love their designs to the point that I bought 2015 blaster boxes to open their product because I loved opening it so much. Honestly, more than I did Topps. And the thing is, these monopolies on these licenses, these exclusivity agreements, in some ways can be damaging to not just investing, because like that's the thing is there's two sides of the hobby. There's investing and then there's collectors, right? The people who like to open packs, kind of like what we're doing, right? You know, this is what my channel is about. It's about, you know, collecting, and it's not so much about making, you know, insane amounts of money. I do price guides occasionally just so you guys are aware and don't poorly treat a card that's not great, but I'm not talking about the top moving cards in the market and things like that. And there's a lot of people in this space, sadly, that are removed from you guys as collectors because of the fact that, you know, they're millionaires and it doesn't matter how much it costs. They're just whatever. Or they are, you know, they're breaking and they're not really, you know, their content isn't necessarily about their own personal collection or things like that. And you guys know me, my cards, I'm not selling you guys into these videos and things like that. Every single thing I open, I'm paying out of pocket for. And so when I say that I'm worried, even as a new collector, you know, it's something to recognize because I'm worried that Fanatics might coast. You know, we see that with Upper Deck, that they have, you know, exclusivity, and so they don't really try. Their products are very bland and boring and not exciting to open. Every card is identical except for when you get a Young Gun and maybe 1 in 10 packs, a Dazzler or something. It's just not really exciting. And there's no guarantee even with them that you get an autograph or a relic. And I know people have talked about hobby box prices and things like Topps, but I believe that's more to do with supply and demand. You know, that's not a matter of them, you know, trying to take advantage or anything. That's them going, okay, the demand is up, but we don't want to change supply. If you look at all of the valuable cards out there, things like parallels and short prints and things like that, like we haven't seen an insane rise in those. All of the parallel numbers, you know, when you compare even 2019 to now, you know, through the big boom during you know, the dark times, as we can call them, they didn't all of a sudden change a gold parallel. Instead of 2021, they made it 4042, right? We didn't see them do that. Maybe they printed more inserts and parallels. You can see Panini went from like 30 parallels to 143 with their retail stuff. You know, there are problems like that, but at the same time, you know, individual cards and card types haven't really been touched too much. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do worry that we might see some bad faith happening, you know, like them taking advantage of their new position to catch us unawares, right? Because it takes time to understand their process and what they're printing and the numbers and things like that. So I think the important thing that we have to press on the MLB and potentially the NBA and NFL, if you collect those cards for those sports, and Fanatics, is we expect a lot. Our standards are extremely high. And if you're switching from a company that has been around and had your license for 70 years and you're going to this company with zero experience, it better be good. You know, it better be the best cards we've ever opened. They better be accessible. if they price out the casual collector, like so many of you that watch my channel are, buying a pack here and there, and if you can, a blaster box, and you're excited, because I know you guys aren't able to buy hobby boxes like me. I know that's what you watch, and that's why I watch some other people too, because I can't afford the $500 packs they're getting. So there's that concern for me that they might kind of go with we're kind of more of an insider than Topps was because we're working with the MLB on these cards, so we're gonna, the price will be a little higher or something. It's either going to be that they price us out for a product that's not really any better. And all of a sudden now you want to buy a blaster box, so it's $120. Well, that's what a hobby box was. Why would I pay that for 8 packs? Or we're going to see the price goes down, more accessible, but we're going to see issues with overprinting, just like we saw in the late 80s and early 90s with things like Upper Deck and the Ken Griffey Jr. era, or like with his rookie card. And quality will go down because, like, well, if we're charging you less, we won't be as stringent on things because we can't afford to. We want to make it accessible. So I think we really need to be cautious. You're going to see people that are going to really be in favor of this, but I'm going to say this right now. I have zero investment in anything like Topps, Panini, and Fanatics, any of these things, and Upper Deck. I have no affiliation with them. I am just a collector like you who wants to make content that's great and wants to open packs and have fun. But there's some people on YouTube that might not necessarily be as nonpartisan as me. There might be people who have affiliations with people in that industry, people who are going to be involved with Fanatics, who might speak positively in order to ingratiate themselves with Fanatics. So what I want to say is be critical. Be critical of me, in my opinion. Go and look for yourself at Fanatics products. Also look at Topps and Panini and the issues they've had, because I think it's important that we know what were the problems with Topps and Panini and these companies when they had these licenses. Were there any issues with Panini, right, back in the day when they could put the logos on? What are our current issues with Topps and what they've done in the past however long, right? Especially for you that are longer collectors than me, you're going to have a way better feel for that. And then we should be critical of Fanatics and their other products' histories and how they've handled those situations. In a lot of cases, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, here's like a replacement. And it's like, that's great, but a replacement is the minimum. Upping your game should be the goal, right? So we should have these expectations of Fanatics to improve upon the issues we had with the previous licensees, and they need to create something solid and ensure that they have their bases covered on the issues we had with the other license holders and make something better, right? They need to look at the market currently, do a lot of research over the next couple years to really identify with collectors, not just investors, right? The majority of people collecting baseball cards aren't dropping $20,000 on a Kobe Bryant rookie card or LeBron James or Michael Jordan and things like that, or a $3.4 million Honus Wagner card, right? Most collectors aren't dropping that kind of money. We're buying a pack at a time. We're saving up for that pack, especially content creators like me. We're doing whatever we can to help support the products and the card collecting scene without breaking the bank. And so they need to really do their due diligence to ensure that they provide a product for us that is not just acceptable, but beats what Topps has been doing in the past 10 years. Because if not, if they're subpar in any way, if they don't ensure their quality control is up there, and the products aren't absolutely amazing to open and enjoy and are priced reasonably, I don't know. I don't know how I'll feel because I really like Topps. I really like Panini. But, when it comes to cards and value, and obviously you want some return on investment way down the road, am I going to be collecting the less collectible items? Are we all going to be, and what's going to happen with those? Are they going to slowly dwindle? So, yeah, that's kind of my rant. I wanted to caution you guys about this. Ensure you're aware. Make sure to do your research on it and understand what's happening. I found out about this today, so a lot of this is kind of my unfiltered thoughts. But I think the core part of what I want to say is we need to be critical. We need to be critical of Major League Baseball, the Players Association, and Fanatics. We need to let them know our expectations, and that if they fail to meet them, we'll go elsewhere. We'll go to Topps and Panini again, and they will get our money regardless of the logo. The thing is, we as collectors and investors, we decide the demand. They don't, right? They could print a 1-of-1 card. If none of us want it, it's worth nothing. Right? So this is the thing that we have to remember is the power is in our hands. If a lot of us decide what they do in those first crucial years of being the exclusive license holder for MLB, they don't meet our expectations. Let's go back to Topps and to Panini and give them our support, because otherwise they'll fade and Fanatics will just rake in that dough and not care about what we have to say. So remember, the power is in our hands as collectors because that's what they're printing for. No one wants those cards. If no one wants them, they're worth nothing. A hobby box of 1989 Upper Deck baseball cards is worth less than $10 because no one wants them. And if no one wants them, that makes an impact. So remember that, you guys. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Let me know what you think. Make sure to do your research. I'm going to do a lot more as well. I'm going to dig into the reason why. Maybe I'll do an update to this once I've done some more research, once more news comes out about this and details about the plans and what Fanatics has to say about their foray into trading cards. But yeah, we need to make sure that we let them know how we feel. I've been doing that. I have high expectations. I don't expect them to reach it, but I have high expectations that they need to meet if this is the way they're going. So anyways, thank you so much, guys, for watching. I know this is a weird, different kind of video than you're used to. I appreciate you watching it and hearing me rant for half an hour. If you disagree with me or agree, let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, your night, or your morning. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.